Okay, the robot's alive. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves again and say what position and chapter you're from, that way we can do some little introductions. Elizabeth, if you want to go first.
Sure. I'm Elizabeth. I'm from the Alpha Theta chapter at Penn State, and I'm the VP of Sorority Engagement.
I'll go next. I'm Annika. I am Sisterhood Director at Alpha Sigma chapter at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. And fun fact, I almost went to Penn State.
I'm Caitlin. I am the Public Relations Director for Omega chapter at Rutgers. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Raina. I'm part of the Alpha Alpha chapter at NAU, and I'm also Sisterhood Director. And I also was gonna go to Penn State too, so that's kind of funny.
I'm an Alpha Alpha alum, so that's why I did that. All right, so planning and hosting a chapter retreat. I am curious because of the pandemic and everything. Have any of you attended a chapter retreat? Okay, so it's like 50-50. Because, you know, with the pandemic, it's, you know, caused chapter retreats not to really happen as much, and with all the regulations and whatnot. And so that's why we're having this session. So planning and hosting a chapter retreat, it's really, really important to do this. And the reason being is because it really helps with chapter morale and the chapter bonding experience. It's usually about halfway through the semester, because it's about that time where, you know, the excitement of the new semester is kind of plateaued and everyone's just chugging along trying to get to the end zone of the semester. And so that's really where like the morale just plateaus. And so the middle of the semester is usually a great time to plan it. For those of you that have had a sisterhood retreat or a chapter retreat, when have you guys had it?
Ours was in the middle of the semester.
It's in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, ours was like also in the middle.
Yeah.
When you say retreat, sorry.
Yeah.
When you say retreat, like we've had a sisterhood, like with when I was just becoming a member, like right before initiation, we had like just with my pledge class, like a little retreat that was like a couple activities, but we're planning like an overnight retreat like this fall. Like, did you mean like either one of those or?
So usually the new members, they have like a little retreat dealio. But as actives, you usually have a retreat as well. So that's why usually the PNMs have it, because the actives have it. So yeah, I guess that would be, it would be a somewhat similar experience. So yeah.
Okay.
The biggest part is planning it, and it should be a whole day affair, or for the chapters that decide to do it as like a overnight slumber, it should be a decent amount of time. Like there should be activities in the evening after dinner, and then in the morning before everyone leaves, and overlapping. I'm just going to go through it like if it's a whole day affair layout, and we can talk about breaking it up in an overnight slumber when we get to that. The reason it needs to be like a whole day affair is because there's multiple aspects to the planning that has to happen. And the first being is like there should be some leadership component. There should be some activity similar to like the activity we did before this session, or I know there's another one called shared meaning, which is kind of similar, like everyone will talk about why they're here and what they are hoping to get out of OPA. And they'll talk about that individually, talk about it as a group, and realize, oh my gosh, we all have a very similar mindset and where we're going. So there always should be a leadership component. You could do like team building, obstacle course. You can do field day Olympics. Some chapters I've heard have done that, and I was like, that's pretty clever. As always, there should be a service component. There's always something service oriented, and it could be towards one of the service projects you guys already have, or it could be towards an additional service project in one of the many areas. And then there should be some like sisterhood or membership component. I know when I was an active, what that consisted of was going over songs and traditions, which was actually a lot of fun. It ended up with us doing like karaoke, like line dancing type of deal by the end of it. But we did practice the songs. So that's usually what happens with that. You can, another sisterhood aspect would be like you have a bag for every person, and you have to write something positive about that person, or something that that person is memorable to you for, and you have to put something in everybody's bag. Entered. Okay. I think someone just entered. Yeah, the bag thing is super fun because sometimes it's hard for people to verbally express how they feel about somebody, and so to write it down is sometimes more meaningful. But just that sisterhood component is usually pretty fun. There's always a group picture, always. And there's usually food. There is food. Sometimes like you can do the pizza party, or a lot of people will do like potluck style. And then you can just end it that way, end it with dinner, or just keep it going and see where the night takes you. I personally, as an active back in the day, we had at Alpha Alpha, it was an overnight thing. So we would have dinner, do our sisterhood, do some leadership, and then the next morning do a service project. And that's kind of how we did it. If you wanted to do it in an overnight setting. Does anyone have any questions about like those three big components, like this, having the leadership, having the service, and having the sisterhood into the chapter retreat? Does that make sense? No questions, no concerns. Okay. The other thing about a chapter retreat that I think comes across a lot of times is sometimes everyone gets very amped up and excited about it and wants to spend a ton of money or have members spend a ton of money. Do you keep in mind, like, not everybody will be as amped up and want to spend like $200 to attend a chapter retreat. So do keep that in mind. I think sometimes chapters can get super excited, and then, you know, when you get the bill, it's like, I'm not as excited about this anymore, and it can ruin the experience. So I think when you're planning this, like, keep that in mind. You know, a lot of chapters will want to do like a chapter retreat shirt, which is totally cool. I love them. I know I've had them. I think my favorite one was a fall in love with OPA, because it was a fall retreat. And but maybe the members in your chapter are really tight on money, and spending money on a chapter retreat shirt just isn't realistic. And you might have to find creative ways to still do that, but more affordable. An example I always use is you could do tie-dye shirts. Super cheap, easy, and then that way everyone has a shirt. And it can be an activity as well. So, any thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas? Any ideas from anybody? Okay.
I would say I think it's good if you do like a sleepaway situation. We had like a couple different activities going on at once, so like people could have like more intimate time, like getting to know each other, and then we did have the group like activity, like eating together, doing the like bags with the positive messages and like the songs and traditions. So yeah, I feel like it's good to have a balance where it's like you don't feel like you have to be a part of like one thing with everybody like the whole night, but you can have like different little activities. People can go like here and try this out and then go somewhere else. But then like at the end of the night being like one big chapter group.
Yeah, and you can totally do it where like those are the 3 big group events and have little different group events in between. The biggest thing that you want to make sure is that like you guys as a unit, as a chapter, are all together doing activities, because I think it's very easy to like just go hang out with your clique and do the activities with your clique or your family or whatever it may be. And what I always enjoyed about chapter retreat is it was an opportunity to get to know some of my sisters at a deeper level than what I had known about them before, and like find new members to bond with. So I think like, yeah, definitely mixing it up like that. And when you put them in smaller groups, I know at Alpha Alpha, it was like assigned smaller groups, like random assigned, because to avoid the clickiness that naturally happens. Anybody else have any thoughts or ideas as well? Annika, how do you guys afford the overnight stay for all of your members? Do you know that by chance?
I just became sisterhood director, so I'm not sure. But last time I think we found a place that was pretty affordable. I don't know. I think it was in our budget because I don't remember paying anything extra to go on retreat. I think we were just expected to, like figure out how we would get there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And retreat,
I want to say though, I think a lot of our budget went towards retreat.
yeah, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Did you guys like Airbnb a place?
I think so. Yeah.
Because that's the other thing chapters have a hard time is finding enough room for everybody to be in the same space.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we went to this like lodge in like the middle of nowhere. I think it was in North Carolina. Because that's like right near us. It's not that far. It's like 45 minutes away. And it was like this huge cabin situation. But the people who owned it were really nice. And like we like did canoeing, like we had a little bonfire. It was fun.
Yeah, we're doing something similar to what Annika's doing, like about 45 minutes to an hour away. We found like, I think like cabins, like a very similar thing. but we kind of looked around at a few places and we looked at Airbnbs too, but the issue with the Airbnb was like if there would be enough room. And I think we're definitely like, as far as getting people there, doing like a carpool situation kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's what we did. And honestly, it worked out really well because I feel like it did kind of, we wanted to take like, or we could, there was some sort of like limit on the cars, like set by the owner of the place. So I feel like that kind of made everybody like already sort of bond like on the way there because we had to fit like 5 people in one car. So it honestly worked out really well.
Nice. Yeah, car bonding experience definitely usually happens. You know, you sing those group songs in the car and it's just game over. I've heard a lot of chapters too, they like getting away from campus when they do the chapter retreat, just because it's like a different scenery, it's a different setting, you're out of your element a little bit. As a whole unit, everyone's out of their element. So a lot of chapters seem to like that.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to say that it's like forced bonding, but like if you're at someone's apartment, you would probably gravitate towards like who you know, like that lives there and stuff like that. But yeah, I think being away from campus definitely like makes it easier.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I feel like when you're at school, you're like, oh, I'll just go with like the people I kind of know. But I feel like retreat was like the moment after I joined last year that I was like bonding with people who I didn't really know. And I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like an actual, like, not that it didn't before, but it was like, these are like my sisters. This is like my family now. And like, yeah, a lot of opportunity to bond with people who I didn't really know beforehand.
Yeah. And if you think about it from like the PNM experience as well, and like through OPA, you know, as a PNM, you start to bond with your PNM class and the people in there. And then you get your big and your family, and you start to bond with that. So you're naturally progressing to just bonding with the whole group through that timeline. And that's why I feel like the chapter retreats are so important to do, because it's a chance for everyone to like step away from the books, step away from the OPA, well, some of the OPA day to day, and just get to know each other and just have a fun weekend out of it. I know back in the day with Alpha Alpha, what we had to do is because there were so many of us, and Flagstaff, Arizona is not that big, guys. And the cabins are very expensive. So we had to, there was like a conference room and Greek life that was big enough to have all of us. So that's what we would have to do. So even though it was on campus, it was like we all had to sleep there and everything. So it was still a little bit different atmosphere.
Did we ever do like any camping, overnight camping trips in Sedona or anything?
No, we did not. And I think that comes down to permits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because some of my sisters were asking, like, for sisterhood retreat, if we could go to Sedona, and like cabins are super expensive there. And I was like just looking at them, and they're like $300 a night, and like our chapter doesn't have a lot of money, so I was just like, well, camping. But then like knowing some of our sisters, some of them don't really like the outdoors, so it's just like really hard to figure out something to do.
And that's the hard part about a chapter retreat, because you don't want to annihilate, like just single out a particular activity or lifestyle or group. You want to make sure everybody enjoys it.
Yeah.
And that's where the camping comes into play.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
you
know.
could, oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, go
I was
ahead,
gonna
Elizabeth.
I was gonna say maybe you could like do smaller retreat. Like I know it would be ideal to get everyone together, but maybe you could like go through and like break up some of like, I don't want to say like the cliques, but like the friend groups and like assign people to smaller groups. And then you could do like kind of like smaller retreats at like people's apartments, or like if somebody has a house where like they would want to like host something like that, maybe that could be like a more like financially sound option. I don't know if that would be like something you would consider, but I feel like sometimes money is hard, especially if people don't want to spend it or if they don't feel comfortable like camping or something.
Yeah, it's just like our last, I want to say all last year, our retreats were literally like 3 hours long. Like I don't, when was the lot? I don't even, like since I joined, we never had an overnight one. Even like our seniors never did an overnight thing. And so I know this semester our president wants to change a lot of stuff and make it more of a bigger event. So I'm just trying to think because like you were Alpha Alpha and you know that like our money situation is very, very limited. So I was just thinking doing like a giant game night kind of thing in the main quad over by Old Main. Like it would be egg toss and cornhole and like campfire games, and then later like a picnic where people can just bring whatever they want.
I think those sound like great ideas. I would definitely try and incorporate, like how we've been talking, like a service project, leadership. A lot of people, because they can't afford the overnight situation, that's how the whole sisterhood day kind of developed, was because some chapters like can't afford, they just can't. But they want to get the same experience. So that is something as well that you could consider, is like, yes, we've had sisterhood days in the past, but they've only been 3 hours. I want to make this a whole day event. And we will do X, Y, and Z and have like different sessions. You can even have alum come and talk at one of the sessions if you want. That's something that's always fun, is having alum come and teach like songs and traditions.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be afraid to like be like, hey, we might have to mix it up here, and this is kind of where I'm going.
Were there any like really big service events that our chapter liked that maybe I can bring back?
So I'm pretty sure there's still a Relay for Life committee.
Yeah, we still have one.
That is huge for the Alpha Alpha chapter. Relay for Life is super big with Alpha Alpha. So I do know that there's the Humane Society and the Boys and Girls Club. You could also do like your street cleanup as well during that time.
Okay, because I'm just trying to figure out something. It's hard.
No,
Since Flagstaff is so small.
No, it is hard. It's really hard because, you know, a lot of chapters, the chapter retreat was just, they would just go out to dinner or just go bowling or whatnot. A lot of chapters don't realize like it's supposed to be a bigger experience and a very big team bonding experience. I'm just thinking with like your particular situation, you could have like in the morning, there's some breakfast, do a leadership activity, have a break. Everyone can walk over to our street, do the service project and clean that up, come back, have lunch, and have like a little break. and then you could do the sisterhood component and
Mhm.
then waltz into dinner. You could do
Okay.
a couple. You could do a couple of sisterhood activities, and do that.
Okay.
Also, one thing that I know we do as a service project is we clean up a local like underfunded school.
Oh.
So maybe if you could find like elementary school or high school or something, ask around, see if anybody needs like help with the grounds. Maybe that could work. I don't know anything about your area, but
That's a pretty that's a pretty cool idea. I've never heard of that. I've heard of the like streets and freeways, but not schools. So that's interesting. That's a good idea.
yeah, it's like a school for adults, I think, that like helps them, learn to read, stuff like that. Cause there's a big like homeless population right near our school, like not right near our school, but like in the city that our school is in. So
Yeah, we have homeless people too. Like a lot. So I do have to go, but I will be back. I have to go help my mom with something.
Yeah.
So I will be back.
Okay, cool. Caitlin, how is your guys' chapter retreats?
They've been pretty small. I only became a member like last fall, but I know there is some issues with my chapter. Like I don't know the details. I just know that there was some issues with the planning a retreat my fall semester. Like we ended up having it like in December, like the week before our final exams because
Oh,
the
yeah.
planning was bad. But I think I will say it definitely got better like the spring semester because we had it in like February, I think, like a
Okay.
little after our recruitment. So but for the most part, like they're pretty small. We just stick to like um just booking a room in one of our student centers for like most of the day. But there's a lot of bonding activities though, like we'll do service activities um, and more sisterhood things. Also like kind of recruitment workshops for like these Meet the Sisters events that we have to do for Rutgers. Yeah. Um, but I'm not the sisterhood director, so like I think she is planning to have some kind of overnight event for
Oh.
next school year, but I'm not completely sure of the plan. So
Yeah, no, totally. Totally. Yes.
I had a question. Okay,
Of
so
course. Sorry.
is there like somewhere on the OPA site or anything where we can find like a list of like songs or traditions
Absolutely.
like that? Okay.
Absolutely. There's actually a songs and traditions manual.
Amazing.
So I think on OPA portal, it's similar to like where you would find the other manuals,
Okay.
and it's right there. Like where you'd find the VP president. Are you familiar with where that is? If not, I can do a walkthrough.
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
It's similar to like where you would find the VP and service and president manuals.
Yeah, I have no
Not-
idea.
yeah, not familiar if you've explored that yet. It's under, I think it's under communication and files for you on OPA portal. But if it's not, you can send me your email in the chat and I can send it to you as well.
Okay, let's see.
Like they even have like the songs, like audio recording,
Yeah,
which I
I
will
know.
warn you. It's creepy.
Not the best, maybe. That's okay.
They're very dated.
It's okay. Yeah, I don't see it.
Let me see. Let's see. It's hard because like my OPA portal looks different.
Right,
than
looks
your
different.
OPA portal.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
So do you have any folders under the files in OPA portal? I don't know. Do you have it up there?
Yes, I have. It says my chapter files, or shared by national office.
Yeah, shared by national office.
And then
Or shared by
membership
others.
by others. I just have the Constitution and like the bid to join agreement stuff.
Darn it.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can. This is gonna sound silly. I wonder if I can add it to the Zoom chat, like add the document to the Zoom chat.
Because yeah, I just really liked when we did that at retreat because most of us didn't like know any of the songs except for like the main one.
How it happened at my chapter was they were annoyed because no one knew all the words. So it'd be like mumbled. And then no one was together. And I was like,
We honestly, day of, just like they printed it out for us, like a couple of them, and it was really fun. And like some people, because our chapter is really new, some of the founding girls like started crying because they were like, oh my gosh, like this is what we like worked so hard for. And like it was really emotional to like do it together as a group.
yeah.
I feel like it's a really great bonding opportunity.
It really is. And then, yeah, I like it. It's fun. Plus, we have some good songs.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I can put my email in the thing.
Let's see. Still trying to see if I can. Songs and ceremonies. Okay, I think I just did it.
Okay, yes.
So please click on it and let me know if that did not work.
I got it.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
I do want to warn you, I do think it has the alum ceremony on there. Do not look at that.
Okay.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. But have it because you need it for alum that go through that ceremony.
Okay.
Situation. Is there anything else with like chapter retreats that you guys have done that have been very successful activities and whatnot? I know we've talked about the bags. We've talked about some doing songs and traditions. I know we really liked the food. We always did potluck and everyone brought their favorite stuff. Cooking and whatnot. But the canoeing sounded really interesting as well.
Yeah, it was me and like 3 other girls because they had canoes and we were like, who wants to go like in the canoe? It was kind of a disaster, but it was really fun. We like almost fell in, but
oh no!
But it was a really cute picture. Not of us almost falling in, but like us in the canoe.
Yeah.
We had to wear these like, I mean, we wore life jackets, but they're all like musty because they were in this random like storage shed, but it was fun.
That's awesome.
We almost ran into a tree. It was
Oh,
good. Lots of laughing.
That's good. Good. Lots of laughing. Like it. Elizabeth, what did you guys do at your P&M retreat? Because those are a little different because you can't do the same things as a chapter retreat.
Yeah, I remember it was so long ago. It was my freshman year and COVID hit like right after that. So I didn't even get like initiated until like over
Oh, yeah.
Zoom. But I remember this one activity we did. We did it in our suite. We don't have our suite anymore because not enough people could live on the floor. But when we did have it, we did it in there mostly. And we did like just stuff to get to know each other and like learn stuff about each other that like we might not already know. And I remember we did like one activity with like a ball of yarn, and you're supposed to like wrap it around your wrist once and then throw it to someone who like you admire and like say why you admire them, and then like it just keeps going around and it makes like this big web, and then you cut it and like you tie the piece that's like wrapped around your wrist into like a bracelet, so then everyone just like wears it during the day. And that was cute, and I remember like learning a lot and just like figuring out like I remember some people would throw it to someone who like they wanted to get to know more or something like that. So we just kind of did like bonding activities is like what I remember most, but it was almost like 3 or 4 years ago, so I don't remember like too much from it.
Yeah. No, I know the yarn activity. I've definitely done that one. Yeah, I just always remember it like it was just a chance to get to know someone outside of your family or your norm.
And I think
Um,
we also brought like photos. They told us to bring a picture that like was meaningful to us or just like something about us. And then we like there was like a photo wall in the suite. So like some of us like hung up our photos on the wall, but like we don't have it anymore. But that was just like another thing because then we like talked about the picture and like kind of about us or like what it meant to us. Like some people brought like pictures of their dog or like somewhere they'd traveled to, like stuff like that.
I love that. That's an awesome idea.
Mhm.
I feel like that just inspired me. I feel like if you could get like Polaroid pictures of like all your members or like pictures from retreat and stuff and make like a yearly like book that you could
Yeah,
pass
like a
down.
scrapbook or something.
Yeah, that you could
Yeah.
pass on to the next chapter
Yeah, we usually
or
do
like the
like
next year.
each pledge class has like a scrapbook. So they're like, I forget if it's like before initiation or like it's kind of like in that timeline where they're supposed to like bring pictures of themselves or like pictures from like any stuff they've done with like the new members, and then they're supposed to like make a scrapbook together like before initiation. But maybe like if we did just like a big scrapbook like overall like for the whole like the sorority as a whole and do like a page for like each event we do like retreat like besides from the Instagram like something that's like physical that we can like look at and stuff.
Another thing you can do that I know we did it for our for the members that were going alum, but you could totally do it at a chapter retreat is we got scrapbook paper and put everyone's name on it, and then you can add a picture of them as well, and then people would write on the page just whatever comments they wanted. So it's similar to the sandwich bag, but a different way to incorporate that, and you could put it in the scrapbook.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we haven't really talked about like um some of like the nitty gritty details for the retreat. Like we have the place, the date, like
Yeah.
kind of the basic stuff established. And like we've talked about like carpooling, like who has a car, who would be able. So some of that stuff, but I think we need to definitely like start getting into maybe like some of the activities that we can plan or like like I think I have like a bunch of games at school at my apartment that we could bring, just like most like the best friend game, like you write on a whiteboard, like they're like questions you're supposed to answer about someone, like would you rather questions, like would you rather like spend your day at the beach or the mountains, and then you would try and guess like what they would pick. So stuff like that I could definitely bring, but I'm sure we'll want to do like a more meaningful, like the sandwich bag type of thing too.
Yeah, definitely doing that. Don't forget the leadership component.
Yeah, and the service.
And the service. And I think it's really important because there's so much planning that goes into recruitment. And then I feel like then all of a sudden it's like time for chapter retreat. And it's like a mad scramble because like all this energy and focus just went into recruitment. And then it's like trying to catch your breath and do the chapter retreat. So I think as much planning as you can get done in advance is always better because it just makes it so much smoother.
Yeah.
I think because it really does happen just that quickly. Like,
Yeah, and it's a lot in the fall with like football and everything, like because obviously the retreat has to be on like an off weekend, so then it's just like a lot happening between the weeks.
yeah, definitely. Hi, Josie. Any other questions or ideas about chapter retreats? I know we've talked about a lot. If you guys need any leadership activities or anything, definitely feel free to reach out to nationals. Like there's plenty of stuff that we have. Trying to think what else. Yeah, nationals has a ton of stuff. As you guys have met each other, so you can pull resources from each other as well. How do you guys feel like this OLA experience has been? Because this is the first time doing it. So what do you guys think?
I think it's good to definitely talk about like the retreat and like just expectations and like things to keep in mind because I've never been on one. Like I had my PNM one and that was a couple years ago. So I haven't really like I don't even know what exactly it's gonna look like yet, but I think everyone's excited for it, definitely. And like I think it's something that we like want to do really well so that like people will look forward to it again and not see it as something that's like a drag or like something that's taking up their weekend. Like I think we all want it to be like a memorable experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's really important to like broaden the scope of your like experiences and like compare with other people because you do a lot of things maybe or like have done things a certain way in your chapter, but I think it's always good to get like outside perspective and like get fresh ideas. Like I'm really excited now. I feel like we should try like the yarn game because that sounds really fun. So yeah, just like getting other ideas from people.
Yeah. Just make sure you buy the biggest amount of yarn because there were definitely some times where we almost ran out.
Yeah, we got like one of the big like ones like that.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the little one, the big one. And make sure like people don't like have it super tight either. Like, because that's another thing. People are falling over each other. Don't know why. And then have 2 pairs of scissors, not just one. Have 2. So yeah, well, it was good meeting with you guys. I know we got 5 more minutes, so if you guys want to talk about anything else, I'm definitely game if you have any other questions that are outside of chapter retreat. But yeah, that is it.